Welcome, everybody, to today's Peace Talks. I'm not live today because, quite frankly, I have an opportunity to hang out with some German friends. Actually, they're Americans, but they're living in Germany and have been there for a long time. And we were invited to hang out with them today. So, being that this is Bud's last week here in Saranda before he heads back to the States, it just felt like a good day for me to spend some quality time with him, as well as having some community time with some people that we really connected with the other day that we randomly met. So thank you for your patience that I'm not here live, but I wanted to get the Peace Talks episode out today because there's been an important message that has come through for you and for me. And I think it's really important for us to keep on a schedule, so to speak, of really tuning into and being aware of how we participate in this Jubilee year that I've been talking about, this year of a refresh, of a renew, of us stepping into a higher expression of life. We are being supported by prime source by the energy of the sun, of our source. We are being supported by our spiritual awakening that we're in. Our spiritual selves are coming through more and more. And if you're on this this community and you're tuning into these peace talks, it tells me that you are truly kind of unraveling this newness of life. And I'm in that same process with you. That's why I am here. That's why I talk about this, because I'm not here to say this is what to expect, this is how it goes. This is a moment to moment process. I have never been through anything like this, nor have you. We are putting our perspectives together. You tune in to hear my perspective and then kind of connect some dots in your perspective and maybe talk to somebody else. And that's how we piece this whole ascension process, this evolutionary process that we are in planetarily, within humanity, within our own selves. We are all brand new every single moment, and especially in these last few weeks. I mean, heck, we could talk about years, and then we could talk about these last few months, and then we could talk about the last few weeks. I mean, it's kind of how it goes now. But I have found and have seen and observed profound changes in myself over these last few weeks, and profound peace that months ago I was saying I'm so in peace, and it just seems like I'm keep deepening into that when I feel like, okay, I found peace in all aspects. I keep going deeper and deeper, and the deeper I find myself going into peace with life and with everything, the more profound the insights become, the more profound the mystical expressions of life appear before me, the more profound my intentions or my higher self comes through. And she is truly sending me and giving me more and more of clarity on what it is I am here to do in this world and who I am here to be. And the more profound clarity I receive, the more I just kind of like, oh, I'm not in charge here. I don't have to figure this out. I can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. And that hasn't always been the case. There has been parts of this journey where it's been, to figure it out and then to trust, but yet still be afraid enough where it's kind of like, oh, I'm afraid to fully surrender into it. And what I'm finding now is, as I tune in from the daily tune in days to the hiatus that I took over the summer, about 8 weeks of just silence, and then coming back and doing these peace talks, the more I sink into the surrender of it, the more magic that is showing up. And all through last week, I shared a little bit with you in my own journey about, what's been showing up. But it's all of these small things too that are just, they're so synchronistic that I kind of like, they're forgotten until I go back in my journal and I look. Because then when I journal every day, I'm like, I put notable moments in there, and I'll just put a little like, got this, we had a friend who had reached out to Bud and said, I need you in San Diego. And he's like, I want you, like, if you're willing to come, I will pay your ticket with my flyer points. And and so Bud was like, okay, I'll take that, because we were looking at flying back, and for 2 tickets back from Albania, it's not cheap. Plus with all of our stuff, plus with 2 dogs, plus with 2 bikes, it's a lot of money. And then from there, we got free bags, and we paid for a bike. And then Bud decided that he would take my bike, because I'm taking the 2 dogs when I eventually go back. And I was like, I can't handle the 2 dogs, 2 crates, all like the big bike, and plus the bags is too much. And I was like really getting frustrated. And he said, okay, I'll take the 2 bikes. So he called the airline to add on the second bike. And the first bike was, I think, just under $400 for us to even put it on the plane. So he called, and they were like, oh, that one's free. And we just kind of looked at each other, and we're like, that doesn't make any sense, especially for an airline, like they look for ways to like charge you. And we're like, just to confirm, this is the luggage, this is the weight, this is the dimensions. The first one costs this, and you're telling us the second one's free. And they're like, yeah. And we got 2 different people to confirm it. So little things like that, but they were big things. All of this abundance is showing up. And the other thing that I want to also reiterate with tuning into what we want. So remember that the theme for October is freedom, right? This is where we anchor into the freedom of creating our heaven on earth. And what heaven on earth means to you is different than what it means to me, and what's different than what it means to, the next person. So you have to know what you're anchoring into, right? When you create a foundation of something, you have to know what kind of foundation. If you build a house, let's say, you choose the blueprint, you choose the model, you choose all the details, so that you know that you're building the foundation that best supports the building of that house. So if you think about this year being the year that we physically start to see our heaven on earth be created, because we are in this Jubilee year, we are here to celebrate the feast of our intentions that we have held throughout this healing journey. All of these years, all of the time we have spent ridding ourselves of the density, doing the healing work, being brave enough to go deep within and look at everything that we've created that did not serve us, and letting that stuff go. We are now to a point where we have the opportunity to start building and creating that heaven on earth. And all last week, so the theme of October was is freedom. Last week, the themes for the episodes of Peace Talks was around opportunities, seeing new opportunities. Now, I want to really clarify, because in our mind sometimes opportunity means a job opportunity or some kind of like opportunity to go somewhere. Also, really take a step back from all the ways that opportunities show up. We have opportunities to think differently about a situation. We have opportunities to expand into new awareness. We have last week the energy was really primed, because we had a lot of those solar flares, which again, that light comes in and it goes all the way through down to our DNA and expands our DNA a little bit more. And what is DNA? DNA is the blueprint that is so unique to us individually that as a new like little glint of DNA expands in us, it starts sending different messages to our cells, to our brains. It starts sending new messages throughout our physical body. And also those DNA strands are tapped into our energy centers, our chakra centers. So our energy centers are getting new upgrades, there's a new blueprint that is expanding every time we go through these energy storms, these solar storms. So all last week was about integrating, and as we integrated, we started to have new opportunities of thought, opportunities of perception shift, right? So there's been some shifts, opportunities in our physical life show up as well. So all of that was happening last week. And now this week is when we will have the opportunity to step through to a new doorway. Okay, so this is going to be an important week. As I record this, it is the full moon for October. October is freedom. The full moon is when we start to intentionalize and materialize the opportunities at hand to anchor into the foundation of freedom that we're creating. But you have to know what you're creating, okay? So one of the things, I left my journal over there, but if you only knew how, what's the word? I'm going to say passionate. I have been dedicating myself to tuning into what does my heaven on earth look like? What does that look like for me? How does it feel? What does it, I keep saying, what's it look like? But I have been connecting with that for months now. I've been doing the Tesla 369 practice, and basically what that is, you can YouTube it. I'm still experimenting with different tweaks to it, which have been kind of cool. And I will tell you that in this practice, it has really expanded my own perception. And it's once you have just, a vision, you tune into it 3 times in the morning, 6 times midday, 9 times right before you go to bed. And the 369 is Tesla's research about pretty much opening a wormhole in quantum physics, 369, and there's plenty on YouTube. I'm not going to explain it because I'm not an expert. I'm still experimenting with it. But in the 2 months that I have been diligently doing this practice, I have seen expansive things happen, mostly within, and now starting to form, into materialization. The opportunity I spoke about last week was exactly what I would have loved to have happened. And I started the energy, I started anchoring into that opportunity energetically by practicing and visualizing and seeing myself in that and tuning into it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and then 9 times at night. So now what's happening, and the energy is primed for this. If you know where you're going, what is it that you want your heaven on earth to look like? Here's the thing. I have some notes down here, okay? So if I look down here, I'm just looking down. Stepping through that doorway is going to start happening this week because these new blueprints that have been activated within your DNA are going to start to manifest. So remember, if you were to build a house, right? You choose what that house is going to look like. You choose the model. You get the blueprints. You take a look at the blueprints and you're like, you know what? There's some changes I need made. I want this to be over here and I'd like to shift this over there. So you get a new blueprint made, and when you lay it on top, it looks similar to the original, but it just has the new additions. That's what's happening with your DNA. So as these new energies come in, as these new upgrades and activations come in, and I will tell you, I've had several conversations this week, and the activations are pretty intense. Lots of heart activations, though, meaning there might be some feelings of pressure, palpitations in the heart area. That is your energy center. Your heart energy center is expanding. It's coming into a balance. It's updating in with these new blueprints that are coming from the level of the DNA. So as the DNA starts to come online, it then starts to connect in even deeper with these energy centers. And as they come in deeper, there are shifts energetically. There are shifts physically that we feel. So many of us, I know I had some pretty obvious. It wasn't really intense as in like, oh, it was more obvious. I was like, oh, I'm getting a heart expansion. I could feel palpitations. I could kind of feel it. It almost feels like a stretching kind of in the heart area. And we breathe through it. You know, we help the expansion by not being in fear, by being in peace and knowing what's happening. It's just a new layer of a blueprint coming in, and it's just shifting things around. It's you, but it's the new improved you that is now coming online. And as that happens, different parts of us activate. And that then expands into the brain, and different neural pathways start to activate that have never been used. The pineal gland starts to work differently. The pineal gland then starts sending different messages to the brain. And then you start to have new insights, new understandings, new perceptions. So that's when you might have something. So as you start to rise up into these higher frequencies, what's happening now is, I'm looking at my cards, what's happening now is where you may have felt secure in your world. So maybe you're like, I have a good life. I'm pretty happy with where it is. All of a sudden, there's a new blueprint. And this new blueprint is more and more aligned with your higher self, with your soul mission here. And it might be asking you now to level up in your physical reality. And when that happens, all of a sudden you might feel a little uncomfortable with somewhere you felt comfortable. You might it might become almost unbearable anywhere where you felt uncomfortable, but you just didn't know which way to go. You just didn't know what to do about the situation. It might start to feel unbearable to where you're forced to do something. And yet, with these new blueprints, you will have a new understanding of how to move forward. There might be opportunities that have opened up from last week that all of a sudden start to make sense, that solidify, that you all of a sudden settle into and say, okay, yes, I feel okay. So how this is showing up in my world, just to share just the practical parts of this, like what does all of that even mean? There's two things I want to share. Last week I shared the opportunity that I had, and I I have to, this in 2 days, have to send over to the streaming platform the outline, the mission statement, and all of the proposal for this new show. And quite frankly, I still have not gotten clarity on it. I still don't really know. I haven't done anything with it, not because I don't know, but I'm waiting. I'm sitting and waiting for that moment when the download comes, and being in peace until it does. And at the same time, there was a part of last week where I was like, oh my gosh, another day's gone by and I still don't know. Yesterday just came to full on peace with it. It was as if it was a message saying, when you need to know, you will know. And I've just been able to sit back, relax, and just know that I will have the download at the perfect time. It will be easy, and I will send it over and it'll be done. There's been this this profound level of peace that has just sunk in with me. The other thing is, as far as the physical transition from here to San Diego, Bud and I originally really had a desire to go to Northern California. That's just kind of our heaven. That's our heaven on earth. And yet this beautiful opportunity opened up for Bud, and the more he started to really tune into it, the more excited he got. And I was pretty resistant to it. I was like, I don't want to be in Southern California. I don't want, and yet it was close. It's closer to my boys. So I was happy about that. But I was like, but I don't, but. There were so many buts. And we finally got to the point where we're going to move forward with San Diego. And what I was happy about is in the space between, which I did a peace talks on 2 weeks ago, the space between that Bud and I are about to experience with him going back and me staying here. I was like, that's good, because I will be able to just be in my own space until I get to peace with going to San Diego. And all of a sudden, this new insight, it wasn't even an insight, y'all. It just was a moment. It literally came in a moment. I was sitting on the couch, and it just was as clear as day. I was like, I'm kind of excited about going to San Diego. I hadn't been doing any research. I mean, he has, because he's going to be there this week. But all of a sudden, it was just this moment where I was at such profound peace with it. And now the excitement is starting to build. And that was the moment that I have been waiting for, just being with. I didn't want to be in resistance going back, so it was too soon for me to go back, to plan my trip back. That's why I really pushed for him, be like, you're ready to go, you go. I'm going to stay here. And I knew that I needed to be at peace with going there before I went, because if I went in resistance, it would only create resistance when we're there, which means it would just create challenges. So these opportunities that come up, we have to be in the moment of profound peace with them, whether they're new perceptions. So not only is there new opportunities for Bud and I that really came into our awareness last week in the physical reality, but there was also an opportunity to change my perception that came in as well late. I mean, it was really like 2 days ago. So it was like literally 2 days ago. I finally was like, oh, I think I'm okay with that now. And it was that moment where I doubted it at first, and I spent some time with it. And then over the last couple of days, my excitement has started to build enough that I've started to do research. What is there for me? Where are we going to go hiking? And like now I'm ready to start planning and anchoring into that world. So 2 weeks ago, I was like resisting, because I'm like, that's not where I want to go. That's not where my mind wanted to go, because it knew where I wanted to be. But what's happening is, as these new blueprints come in, my spirit now is saying, I need you in San Diego. I don't know why, but I'm going there in profound peace now. So when the moment comes, as I walk through this doorway this week of understanding that I am ready now to move into and anchor into heaven on earth in the San Diego area, now is when the materialization starts to happen. Because both Bud and I, because we are a team in this, we are in a partnership, both of us had to be in peace. With one of us kind of doing this and resisting, it was creating resistance between us, and all of a sudden, it just shifted. So the opportunity to change my perspective came. And it only came because I allowed myself the knowledge, the awareness to say, I've got to be good at this. I have to be at peace. And I had to make a hard decision and say, honey, you've got to go first. I can't go until I'm ready. And he didn't like that. And we butted heads. but I stood my truth, stood stood my ground. That's what this is all about. It's standing in our truth long enough to be able to receive the new blueprints that open up our perspective, that open up our opportunities, that open up our physical world to anchor into. Okay, so even if you feel comfortable with something in your world, there's a pretty good chance that your spirit is not, like, your mind might be like, I'm good, but your spirit is not going to let you just stay there. It is calling you forth to even a higher expression. So you may just realize that not only are you getting an opportunity to be called forth, but this is the week that you'll step through a whole new doorway. And what happens when you go to somewhere completely new? Let's say you're looking at houses and you go to a house. The first thing you do is you step through the doorway, you stop and you just look around. You get a feel for it. Whoa. As we start walking through the doorways, and many of us have been in the hallway for a while. We've talked about that on the daily tune-in for a while, that when one door closes, another one opens, but it's hell in the hallway. That's where we are. That's where the space is that we have to stand in and be in the discomfort until we know exactly which door to walk through. Because when one door closes, the next one doesn't automatically open. Because the next one in the world that we're talking, the one that closes is the one that no longer serves us. And sometimes that's painful for that door to close. Sometimes we don't choose it. Sometimes an opportunity, a partnership, a relationship, a job just closes. Or sometimes we just walk away and close the door and we stand there, we're like, I don't know what comes next, what comes next. But in that, that's when we have to just find that profound peace so that we can wait and choose from the place of our heart, from our spirit, which doorway to move through. And I believe this week will be the week that many of us will start to see the door open. It was an idea last week of an opportunity, of an illumination. We talked about the illumination of opportunities. Oh, that's what this is about. Oh, that's the shift in perception. Okay, I feel at peace now. Now I'm in the hallway and I'm at peace. And a doorway opens and we step through and we just look around at what this opportunity is actually presenting to us. And that is when I believe we will start to see these kind of like energetic anchors go, I'm all right with this, choo, choo. And now our foundation is coming together to create the foundation for this heaven on earth year. Okay, so this is the year. My phone is ringing. Who's calling me? Oh, shoot. It's my German friend. This is the year, this is the week where the doorway will present something that is actually where roots are going to start growing. So you know how when you plant a new plant in some dirt, you don't automatically see, you might have some roots here, but when you plant that plant in the soil and you push the soil around, you give it a water and you walk away, you put it in the sun, you know that the roots are there. They just haven't grabbed on yet. But in a day or 2 or 3, those roots are going to start growing. And you have a brand new foundational rooted plant that is going to start growing. That's what this week is going to offer us. If we are aware, if we are clear, if we are in a profound peace, we are a channel of it, it's going to show up differently for all of us. And yet, when we see that doorway and we step through, it's going to be real new soil. But when we say yes to it, it will start to then click our roots in. That's what this week is about. It feels really profound to me. It feels really exciting to me. And yet newness it can be uncomfortable, but it can also give us that question of like, is it too good to be true? Is it too good to be true? And yet that feeling is exactly what we're looking for, because that is the feeling, the brand new feeling of freedom. Can you imagine when, like Nelson Mandela came out of jail for the first time, and how like 30 something years he was in prison? Can you imagine the first couple of steps of his freedom? He was probably like, I would imagine, is this true? Is this real? So that's kind of, I mean, certainly not 30 years after being in prison, but maybe for those of us who have walked a journey for a long time, it has felt many times like being enslaved by doing so much work, by being in the, in the prison of this facade that we have built for ourselves, and carrying around the imprisoned weight of stress, anxiety, and all of that stuff we have been ripping off over these years and through this healing journey. And now we're in profound peace, and we step through a new doorway. We say yes to something, but all of a sudden we're like, this feels too good to be true. And yet that is the zing. That's exactly what we're looking for. So this week we're going to be tuning into these doorways. How is it showing up? We're going to go deeper into the doorways, and I think I'm going to do a reading tomorrow, a tarot tune-in on this idea, on this message of the doorway, because I do believe it's going to show up this week. Thank you all so much. I really feel like it's going to be exciting. So be excited. Be looking for the doorway. It's going to be subtle. It might be just a new introduction to somebody. It might just be, hey, what do you think about this? And you're like, I would love that. Like, that would be amazing. And all of a sudden you're like, but that sounds too good to be true. But that's when you feel that, or you think that, that's the thing to tune into, or that's the person to tune into. That's the feeling to tune into, and you just follow that. So much good is coming. So much good is coming. So much good is coming. I know it. And it's coming this week. So let's tune into it. If you have gotten some spiritual food from this beautiful time together, please don't hesitate on sending a donation of any kind to our platform here. As you know, I'm fully donation based, and we've got some big moves ahead of us. So if you are coming here and feeling spiritually fed and are looking through a doorway of abundance, please feel free to share the wealth and to support this channel, because I do appreciate it, and it does help in so many big ways for me. Thank you for being here. I will see you on the next Peace Talks. Mwah. Have a good one.